All right. Good evening. This is the Fridley School Board business meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:36 p.m. I apologize for being a few minutes late. Thank you for your patience. I invite you all to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the first item of business is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the agenda say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda is approved. The next item is a spotlight on recognition. And so that is the pleasure of Dr. Kim Heil to share.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Meisner and board members. It's with pleasure that I announce our Employee of the Month, and this was written by Dr. Amy Cochran from the middle school. So congratulations to Brianna Ives, our Employee of the Month for May. Brianna Ives is nothing short of amazing. She has transformed our media center into a place where students can come to relax in our new flex seating, use their Chromebook, chat with friends, and easily find books. She has put a lot of effort into getting to know our students and building relationships with them to find books that match their interests. She creates displays that highlights different cultures and books from a variety of genres. She has served as the hub of all things technology for students and staff. Students know how to visit her with any concerns about their Chromebook and chargers. She makes sure our students are always ready to learn. In addition to making sure the Media Center is student-centered and a place they want to be, she also ensures that any materials teachers need are ready to go and the copy room stays fully stocked. She is a valued member of our FMS community, and we are so lucky to have her. Congratulations to Brianna.
Congratulations, Brianna, and thank you. Our next item is some announcements of retirees. Dr. Heil.
Yes, thank you. We are very proud to announce and thank you for their service, our retirees for 2022. So Rachel Adams has served as an occupational therapist for Fridley Public Schools for 12 years. Cheryl Burgard has served as an art and photography teacher at Fridley High School for 18 years. Lisa Cortez has served as an English language teacher at Fridley Middle School for 13 years. Carla Hoshin serves as occupational therapist for Fridley Public School for 27 years. Gail Colishol has served as health assistant for Totina Grace in her time that she was employed with Fridley Public Schools. The one and only Diane Polsky served as principal to secretary of Fridley Middle School and was employed with Fridley Public Schools for 32 years, assisting many principals during her time. Dan Roth has served as activities director in his time at Fridley Public Schools for over 15 years, and Nancy Sandberg was a paraeducator in a transition program at Fridley High School, and she served with us for 12 years. So thank you to all of our outstanding retirees.
Thank you so much.
Is Dan Roth here? Or
yeah, some are.
We'd like to recognize him if you can stand. He's not?
Thank you for your service, and we will miss you. And good luck for whatever you choose to do later on. All right, we get to have some good information coming from our Fridley Middle School principal, Dr. Cochran.
Hello, good evening, Board Chair Meisner, board members, and Superintendent Heil. I'm going to invite some of my guests with me. I have a whole group to present with me this evening. I do. So, all right. You're going to get to hear lots of voices tonight. As we entered the 21-22 school year, the focus was on bringing students back to the building, and we had a huge focus on returning through relationships. This year, we also had a unique opportunity on Wednesdays because we stayed in the block schedule from COVID, that we did something a little different with Wednesdays. We developed a class called Lead for Change, and the huge focus was on service in action and really on our student experience, building relationships during that time. And so our presentation tonight is going to really highlight a lot of the student experiences that happen during that time on Wednesdays. Again, really focused on community building, relationship building, and then service and action. So I have staff and students with me here tonight. I have Mr. Engelhardt, who is our 8th grade dean of students, but will be our assistant principal next school year. I have Carrie Ryder, who is our IB coordinator at the middle school, Alota Sims, our equity and inclusion specialist, and I have 2 8th grade students that are going to talk about their experience, Saja and Amira. So I am going to turn this over to Mr. Engelhardt.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'll go quickly because we have a whole bunch of information. Our students did a whole bunch of different things during the school year, kind of outside of the normal activities of school. So I'm going to highlight some of those. The first one was a high school football player visit. We have been really intentional about really fostering that connection between the middle school and the high school this year. And this was a really fun way for us to do that. When our high school athletes come to the middle school, they're kind of superheroes throughout the building. And so we thought this was a really great way to be intentional about building this pride of being a Fridley Tiger for years to come. So we did this early on in the school year. They came and visited 5th and 6th grade lunches and just kind of got to hang out with them during the day. Next one, early on in the school year, we hosted a Tiger Grit assembly. So grit in the middle school stands for giving respect, responsibility, integrity, and thinking first. It's a really big part of kind of the PBIS strategies that we utilize throughout our building. And it's something we really focus on every day. And so we kicked off the school year with an assembly. The assembly was really talking about what grit looks like, sounds like, feels like during our school day. Our students got to participate in some fun activities. You can see some of those up on the screen. And then also during this time, we kicked off the opening of our grit store. Our grit store is, we give out grit tickets throughout the day for students who are demonstrating grit in our building. And they get to take those tickets and purchase kind of prizes and fun things to do. So we kicked off not only the start of the school year with what grit is, but also the opening of our school store. Next one, just kind of touching on that returning through relationships theme. We've been very intentional about really making sure we have a high level of staff engagement throughout the school year. We started the year with some time at the park where we grilled and we had some yard games and just, for new staff, got to know each other, and just really came back and celebrated being back in, a semi-normal school year. We have our spirit wear days every week. We send those out, and just they're ranging from sports themed days to I think this Friday is Express Yourself Day. So we're really intentional about that. We've done a medallion hunt throughout our building where our staff got to go around searching for a medallion where they could win prizes if they found it. And then we have just bust out our new popcorn maker, which has been a big hit. We are using that for different events. We used it last Friday as well. We're trying to really ensure that our staff morale is high, and so we cook popcorn for them at lunches. Next one was the first ever polar plunge at Fridley Middle School, sponsored by Special Olympics Minnesota. First time ever, it was really highlighting inclusion throughout our building and what that looks like for all students. We had an assembly at the start of the day where we talked about what inclusion looks like, why it's important throughout our building, and then we transitioned outside to do the really fun stuff where we got to jump in this freezing cold water. Luckily it was, I think, like 47, so it wasn't too terrible. But it was amazing. We had 277 total jumpers, raised over $5,500 for Special Olympics Minnesota. It goes to Special Olympics Minnesota, but also comes back, which is actually how we funded our beautiful new popcorn machine. And it was just a really enjoyable thing. It's been something that's been requested by staff and student to be an annual event. Yes, yay. So staff for student basketball game is the next one. We got to bring this back always an amazing event. Really talks about building community throughout the building, supporting each other as students, as a team. We really focus on, supporting one another as individuals, but also as grade levels. And then the students all really come together to support each other as they take on the old team or the big bad teachers. Really just a super fun environment, great atmosphere. Got our teachers to go back and relive some of their glory days too, which was great. Really, really awesome event. And then the last one I'll talk about, we did bring back the play this year, and it was beautiful. It was something that we had some great participants over here take part in. We really wanted to kick it off and make it big and like really bring it back with a bang. And so we opened it up to 6th through 8th grade. It usually is only 7th through 8th grade. So we had 33 total participants. Like I said, it was opened up to 6th through 8th grade, and then every single kid in our building got to go see kind of a sneak preview of it at the high school. And it was fantastic. It was great. I'm going to pass it off to Carrie Ryder.
Hi, everyone. All right, just to continue on with the theme of returning through relationships and being really intentional, we recently had a 6th grade retreat where we kind of took 2 days and just took over their days. It was an all hands on deck kind of thing. And so we had district level staff, equity and inclusion specialists, all the 6th grade teachers, admin, everyone was involved in this in some capacity. We had kind of breakout sessions for them, and the focus was on community building, continuing relationships, establishing norms, and then teaching skills, how to teach empathy, kindness, and conflict resolution. How does that problem solving look amongst peers? And we heard we had great feedback, so we're really looking forward to the fall when we can kick off the year with that. We had an 8th grade assembly, and the focus was on a transition to high school. What does that look like? How do we really set up our students for success as they go into high school? And so we had our high school admin was present. You can see Patty was there kind of welcoming them and greeting them. And then again, with the focus of the bridge across the street, it makes a big difference, right? They're growing up, and we mean business. So making that as a seamless transition as possible. We also had our student voices in there involved, our GSA student group, and we had high school juniors. So it was, again, right, being really intentional about the connections that we're building. Oh, we have our 7th and 8th grade reading buddies. And so our 7th and 8th graders in reading classes, they pair up with 5th grade, and on Wednesdays, they go and they read to each other. And something I most recently learned about, so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong in this, but the teacher was talking about the conversations that happen between the students and about their different cultures. One student was talking about a quinceañera and to a Muslim student, and just all the questions and the conversations that are happening between them. It really is amazing to watch them learn in real time about each other's culture in a really respectful, curious kind of way. This is actually happening this week. We have Lead for Change Chill Week. So this is student-led. These are student-led initiatives. So each day this week there's kind of a theme of the day. So we had Mindful Monday, where every student in the building participated in some mindfulness activities. So everyone, every student and teacher actually participated. Today was TikTok Tuesday. I'm kind of interested to see how that one turns out. Tomorrow we have Walking Wednesday or Workout Wednesday. So everyone's going to be walking at the same time in the middle school. Follow the path and work together. And then we have Green Thursday and Express Yourself Friday. Again, this one was led by 7th and 8th graders. And then on the next slide, this initiative was led by 5th and 6th graders. So in the Lead for Change classes, which I am especially impartial to, I guess, because the direct connection that it can make to IB and how service and action is such an integral part of our school and our community. They were able to raise 480 items, which were donated to SECA. Again, student-led, student-driven, and amazing to see what the students are doing. Passing it off to Ms. Alota Sims.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Howe. As we continued on with our intentions for connections, we wanted to make sure that we connect with our culture within our building and being diverse and being inclusive. So right here was the day that we did a Native American drumming. This is a partnership through Menzing Indian Education. We've been in partnership with them for about 6 years now, I think it has been. And so this has been a great partnership for us to partner for our Indian Ed students. They brought in the Spirit Boys Drumming and Dance, which was a great opportunity for our students to learn about drumming, what it means to the culture about drumming, and then the inspiration behind the drumming. There was an opportunity where students got to go on stage and enjoy some of that drumming. So that was a great way that we wanted to intentionally bring in that culture and that historical culture within our building for our students to enjoy. Right here was our African American Student Involvement and Parent Involvement Day. I was very surprised how many parents came into the building that day. This was like an overall turnout that I've had in a long time. The parents were very welcome to come in. They were very excited. A lot of the parents told me that they were excited to get the invitation because they had not been that connected within the school since the COVID. So to be able to have that time to walk around, meet the teachers, meet the principal, have lunch. That picture does not explain really how many people were there because it was actually more than just on that picture, but the students had a great time. You should have seen the excitement when their parents came in the door and they're like, can my friend come in and eat with us, Mom? And so you got all these friends coming in to eat with their parents, but it was a fun opportunity. I enjoyed really watching that connection between the school and the parents and the teachers. It was an awesome experience for that day. We had about 25 to 30 parents actually come in, and I would think per grade, about at least 10 parents per grade at least. Right here was our African American assembly, which was streamed live. So I want to thank everybody that helped us to stream that live. It was a busy, we were live, so there was a bunch of glitches, but we got through the day and it was fun. It's amazing because these kids worked for 30 days learning their poetry, their songs. The collaboration with the choir was district-wide from every school in the district. So it was amazing to watch them all learn the same song, same tune, same words, and then come together finally and sing this lovely song, Lift Every Voice. So this was a great way of intentional connection within the district when we talk about equity. Now I'm going to have our two lovely students talk about another great culture connection we had.
Hello, my name's Amira Hussein.
My name is Saja Cheber.
And we are 8th graders, and we've been attending Fridley Middle School for 4 years.
And we are here to talk about the henna artists coming in and doing our henna.
Henna is a dye that comes from the fruit Lawsonia inermis. It originated in ancient Egypt. It was an amazing experience that really made our culture feel appreciated and well represented.
It had a very positive feedback from everyone who participated, and it was a fun activity to look forward to, especially because it was during the end of Ramadan.
We felt that we were finally being recognized by the Fridley community, and we felt as though we are just as important as the other students, which made me love the school even more.
The henna artist was very kind and told us a little bit about herself and how much she loves and enjoys doing henna.
Not only was the henna fun, but we also had a lot of fun in the library, doing calligraphy and also playing Connect 4. We had time to listen to Quran and also be closer with our God, Allah.
So in all, the experience we had during Ramadan this year was something we really enjoyed and something that we hope they continue to do for the middle school.
Thank you for listening.
All right, so I'm just going to close this out real quick. As you've heard, some highlights, again, are really intentional focus this year on student experience, service in action, really returning through relationships, just kind of some fun upcoming things that are really different from previous years. We are just ordered class t-shirts for all of our students that we will do before the end of the year with their graduation year on it. Tiger Nation, really, again, trying to promote that again, community building. And then also the last day of school, our 8th graders are going to take a trip on the Mississippi Riverboat cruise. They're going to have lunch on the boat as a really awesome way to celebrate the end of their middle school career. So kind of some really fun upcoming activities that are going to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Ms. Sims,
Mr. Chair, if I could, Dr.
Please.
Cochran, just wanted to acknowledge the 5th grade orientation last week for the 4th graders. I certainly attended for my son, and the parents that I knew there as well were certainly impressed with the very brief introduction to 5th grade. It seems like there's an unusually amount of anxiety about lockers. You guys certainly, everyone's laughing, so apparently it's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
So thank you for that. The kids enjoyed it, and it's awesome. And then the only other question that I think is outstanding, who won the kid versus student, or the staff versus student?
Staff, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't
We
know
need
who
to talk
keeps
to the
score,
refs,
but I don't
though.
know how legit the scorekeeper is. We might have to hire someone official.
Aloda, I'm wondering if you could share the link from the assembly.
You know what? We didn't say the link. It was so much glitches to it. Next year we're up.
I will
Okay.
take your word for it that it was amazing. Okay. And I'm wondering, so Dylan is a senior. He's graduating in, soon. And I'm still finding Tiger Grit tickets, and I'm wondering what. And we've moved. That's the crazy thing. Every time I deep clean, I find another one. So I think had he saved them, he could have probably bought himself a car.
Yeah, what's the
So
cash value?
I'm thinking that would be a good graduation celebration. I'll give him a treat. Okay.
I just have a request to invite the board members to participate in the plunge. We'd like to take part in that if possible.
The henna tattooing, that would be
The henna, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And I was going to offer, I can't play basketball, but I make a mean referee. Very biased referee, just so you know. Thank you. That's so much fun to see. Thank you for sharing that. It's great to see what's going on. Any other comments about it? Nice. Well, it might be a little tough to follow that up, but Principal Hand is not in the building? Okay, so who is our substitute?
Good evening, everyone. Oh, here, let me move this up some. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chairman Meisner, board members, and, of course, Superintendent Dr. Queen Howe. Thank you for the opportunity to present our look back at the Fridley High School for the year of 21-22, and which was actually my first year as the assistant principal here at Fridley High School as well. All right. Oh, we got somebody that's taking care of that. Appreciate you. All right. So it is going to be a tough act to follow, the middle school. So super job, you guys. But as far as us, our transition, and then of course the return through relationships, that was definitely the theme. And so Kelly McConville, he's put in the 12 years or more at Fridley High School, and I came in, and it was definitely some big shoes to fill. And so obviously I came in and just did a lot of listening for myself. And then of course there was also some other transitions because I don't want to keep the spotlight on me. We had Chelsea Wood, who was the principal secretary, and we transitioned to Fatima, who's amazing. She had already done a wonderful job in the registrar's office. And so her stepping into the principal secretary role, that's just been a huge asset. And then, of course, with Fatima's transition, then we were able and lucky enough to land Priyanka Rai. I have been working with Priyanka pretty much real closely when it comes to master scheduling and trying to get all the FTEs accounted for our teachers. And she has been, she's been great. We're both sponges, but she's able to spend a little bit more time on that work, and it's been extremely helpful for me, so I definitely appreciate that. And then, of course, the transition back to just normal school. That's been something that we've all missed, and, we've had our bumps in the road, we've had our challenges throughout the year, and even when we start to get on the right footing, the right traction, all of a sudden comes another pivot that we have to make, right? And so that's pretty much been the year, not just on our students, because that pivot is extremely difficult on our students, but then of course our families, and then most importantly, well, not most importantly, because everybody's important, but I also want to speak towards our staff, and that has been what we've shown all year with the pivot, being resilient, and then of course showing perseverance. So all of those things, and we continue to persevere now that we're coming down to the final countdown within I think 20 or something odd days. I'm not counting, so I really don't know, but every day is definitely a new day, and you just try to find the new energy to continue to support our staff, students, and families. Okay, our equity journey. So I'm just going to kind of summarize what I wrote up as I was thinking about how the year went, and just when I was able to come in and just learn a lot about this community and this district, even though I was across the river about 4 years ago, where I spent 13 years at Brooklyn Center. But the planning of the start of the school year and discussing how we continue our equity journey work has pushed us to listen more. Through our listening, it has created more opportunities for student voice. Student voice has been leading the way to create new club activities, which in turn brought us together as a community to gather for Iftar dinner night. Our scholars' voices continue to grow as the listening starts to become more intentional. Through their explanations / presentation, this has increased the awareness and importance of mental health. We've been in the process of interviewing four more social workers throughout the district, and there is now a week which is dedicated, which happens to be this week, for mental health and wellness at the high school. And just like the middle school, they have, I think their week is actually taking place right now with us. And so just today, there's been opportunities for students to be out in our courtyards and just being able to just kind of do process walks, hang out, kind of stretch out. And we've got a couple of other things that are situated for them this week as well, stretch breaks included. And then we are going to have an opportunity to do some yoga. So I'm extremely excited for that because I consider myself a yogi. So I will be in that space trying to get my stretch on for the amount of time that I have. And then we were going to have a student here to present that, but we're going to go ahead and transition this to Mr. Roth. He's been everybody knows Mr. Roth. I don't really need to go into detail with that, but this was something that he really felt strong about, and we were able to collaborate with Miss Suzanne Samaha, but definitely our students. And our student would happen to be Henna, and she was somebody that has been really expressing herself and being able to create things to where we can celebrate our cultures and then being able to bring us together as a community. So, Mr. Roth.
Thank you. Good evening. A little bit about the iftar. The idea came to me when we unknowingly scheduled prom 2 years ahead during Ramadan. And we were probably less than a month out when it was challenged. And it was during COVID where were we really going to be able to do it anyways? But it was the right thing to do, is we canceled prom and moved it. And we weren't able to have it, but it awakened me, and I started to just think and ponder about it. And we scheduled the next year. We had to move it to way late in May. And just the historical piece was we always did it on the last weekend in April, because venues are cheaper in April than they are in May. That was the historical piece. And so through the reflection and Suzanne Samaha, who the most of you don't know, but she was a student at Edison when I was the athletic director. And so we've had this connection, and we had some really good conversation, and I shared with her a thought. Like, maybe we could do something for our kids who are not eating, not drinking all day. And maybe we could do something for them during Ramadan that would just be a fun thing when they break the fast. And so that conversation started, and then the voice for our kids started to become more acute. And we had a group that wanted to start a club. And it was interesting as we processed with them and helping them understand what the difference between a religious club is and just a secular club and how we would do that. And it was mostly from Muslim students, and they wanted something that was theirs. And so that's the name Salam Club came, which means peace. And from that, Haneen, who is the president of that club, she and I began a conversation when I brought that idea if that would be something we could do. And it was very interesting how it came about. And we ended up having approximately 45 kids show up. And Sue Hansen and I learned that they break the fast with dates and water. So I said, the dates and water are on us. And they helped with the open gym, and I learned a lot. I was able to experience something I hadn't experienced before. And our hope is that this could be something that we could extend further into the greater community. And what we did learn, and what I learned, is that this is very family-oriented, extremely family-oriented. And so if we could maybe get some parents who would be interested in leading, then that would have more families come, and that may help more families to come at other things when they see that the school is recognizing them and that it's a safe place. And so that's where we're at for that. Haneen was not able to come, otherwise she would have told her story and how it went. So I thought it would be good to start that way. Our next guest is Juliana Harris. And Juliana Harris is now a seasoned speaker. And so I asked her if she would want to come up. She was our Athena Award winner, which is a tradition in Minnesota. We're celebrating the 50th year of Title IX, in which was a breakthrough for all females, but actually for all of us. And she was able to be part of the 50th anniversary of the Athena Award. So I asked her to maybe speak a little bit about, because it was very historical in nature, and what these women were able to share with us was amazing, some of the things. And so Juliana, our senior, if she would come on up, I'd like her to speak.
Like Mr. Roth said, I'm Juliana Harris, and I'm the Fridley Athena Award winner for this year. And I didn't even know that it was the 50th anniversary of Title IX until I got to the banquet and kind of got closer to the banquet. And it really was eye-opening to me. We had one of the first Athena Award winners to talk there, and she talked about how her coach for her track team was a mom that just stepped up because nobody wanted to coach a girls' team. And to see where we've progressed to now, where we have track coaches, we have like 6 track coaches for the girls' side, and the boys have their own, and just to see how much it's grown is really crazy to me. And I just want the future of Fridley girls to see how important it is, and just the future of female athletes in general, to see how important it is to go do something, and how much of an honor it is to be able to participate in athletics. And so it really means a lot. And yeah, it's very crazy that it's just been 50 years. It seems so short, but we've come a long way. So thank you.
I don't know if you picked up on this, but one of the main speakers talked about was that in just 2 generations, we have a group of young women who are entitled, that feel entitled. And I think we heard that when she said, I didn't know it was 50 years of that, right? Like, it's just, what? There was something that wasn't there before? That's a good thing. And so we're really proud. Juliana's a 3-sport athlete, and the award is actually for what coaches vote on who is the best female athlete, and the athletic part is the most important, along with there's other things, but it's actually most are combinations, but it's about you as an athlete. So congratulations to her. I have Aaliyah Murray. We started a social justice club this last year, and it actually, 2 boys came to me like the 1st of June, and they were graduating, and they were so excited. They were passionate. They wanted to get something started. So we listened and we tried, and they were supposed to come back after graduation, and I kind of thought they wouldn't, and they didn't. But their intent was really strong, and so I felt like I wanted to honor them. And so I kind of talked around, and it was actually Coach Reese that said, who would be? And he said, Aaliyah. She's the one you had to talk to. And she is. Aaliyah is the real deal. I would say around the Twin Cities, she's well known in the area of people with passion for justice, for both within her peer group, but I'd say bigger. She's a very impressive young woman. And so I visited with her the other day, and I asked her how it's going. She said, well, it was a slow start, and it makes sense because the kids who are there weren't the ones initiating. So they're kind of trying to find their way. And I can actually say they haven't done a lot, but I loved what she said. She said, what I really need to do is get with the advisors and the kids who are there, and we need to sit down and say, what do we really want to be about? What is it? And I go, wow, that's a good point. And she said to me, we have a lot of clubs, but they still want to be separate. She said, and I said, well, maybe you just said something that might be one of your purposes for next year focus. And maybe that group will start to say, how can we combine and get those to work together? Because we do a lot of really cool things. But I think it'd be so much better if we had shared work on a project. So that I hopefully that's something that she would be talking about to you, because I asked her if she could express that to you. So she thought she could, but she couldn't make it here. So I would like to go to our last person who's going to visit with us. We have Andy Stevenson, and he was a Minnesota State High School League AAA finalist. Athletics, fine arts, and academics. And it's probably the highest award that the Minnesota State High School League gives out. And we've had 3 Fridley finalists the last 3 years. And they do happen to be males. And I think it says something about what's going on in this district in terms of giving kids opportunities, how they choose the opportunities and what they do with them. And I asked Andy, who had to do a 11-page application, so he took some time, and he had an amazing essay, and I asked him to come and read this to you. Andy, come on up.
Well, I can't do much more to follow that introduction, so I'll just read it as Mr. Roth said. The prompt says, share how your involvement in the arts, athletics, and academics has developed and promoted your growth beyond performance. How has your involvement developed you as a person? So I responded, school to me is so much more about the moments with people and the life lessons you receive from those interactions than it is the completing of your work and doing your duties as a student, athlete, and artist. I've grown by my peers' encouragement, my coaches' challenging, and by my teachers' and directors' critiques, infinitely more than I have by learning how to practice a skill, whether it be academic, artistic, or athletic. So those interactions and relationships with the people have changed me so much. I figured out who I truly was and developed an idea of who I want to be. I followed the lead of those with more experience and learned character traits from them that I need to develop in my own life. Through the 3 A's, I struggled, persevered, learned, grew, and was challenged, all because of the people put into my life that wanted to help, and even those that critiqued me in negative ways that I still got to grow from. I realized the beauty of the things I'm involved in, what amazing parts of creation they are, and how to cherish each activity and person in them as a gift that I've been blessed with. An immense part of who I am is because of my involvement in arts, athletics, and academics, and all the growth that they have given me. And I couldn't be more grateful for it all. Thank you.
We want to thank you, board, for your support. We could not produce the types of individuals that have been up here. It's the fruits of your labor, and you get to get a peek at it. And what you do is really important. And I want to just thank you personally. This will be my last time in front of you. It's been a wonderful 15 years for me. And the most grateful thing I am is I was given an opportunity to lead and articulate a vision that I had, a belief inside me that was really deep and strong. And the belief is that the activities is just another period in the day. It's another way of learning. And I always use this as my catchphrase is school was kind of made, and those who get it go right through the front door. School's easy for them. It just works. However why that is, we could go into a long dissertation on that. But there's a lot of others that need something else besides coming through the front door. And my belief is that's what activities does. And what they do is we're getting kids coming through the back door, the side door, windows, any which way they can get in there. And they make relationships. They're doing something that they chose and they feel good about. And in that, we trick them into graduating. And I want to thank Fridley for believing in me and helping me carry that vision out. And that vision and what we did is through the teachers and the coaches and the parents and all the rest that makes this a wonderful community. And I was contemplating, and we're becoming a young district with young district leaders quickly. And we're seeing them right here. They're fabulous. We've had some great hires, and we're going to have more. Because people believe in us. We're out there. People want to work here. And that's what you've all created. Dr. Heil, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Chair, if I could.
Of course.
Where's Dan? I'd make a joke to have him stand up, but thank you, Dan, or Roth. Dan's been with us for 15 years, but he's also had quite a few years in public schools as well. Clearly, he's had an influence on one former Tommy. But I want to thank you as well, Dan, because I also graduated from Edison, 10, 15 years ago. Right before Dan came to Fridley, he was my football coach, and I just want to publicly thank you for everything you've done. Thank you.
I just want to express that, Mr. Roth, you're a good storyteller. As you were talking, I was just saying, tell more, give me more kind of story.
Would it surprise you if I told you he taught speech at Edison?
It shows, yeah. So thank you for your service. We really appreciate it. And this doesn't have to be the last one. I mean, this is your forum anytime, please.
Thank you very much, Dan, Assistant Principal Zarley, everybody else that spoke. Thank you for sharing your stories and your experiences. It's great stuff. Okay, on with business. Our next item is the resolution for accepting gifts. Standard policy, whereas School Board Policy 706 establishes guidelines for the acceptance of gifts to the district, and whereas Minnesota Statute 465.03 states that school boards may accept a gift, grant, or device of real or personal property only by the adoption of a resolution approved by 2/3 of its members. Therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Fridley Public Schools accepts with appreciation the following gifts received by the school district. A donation from Greg Stumpf of a drum set to the music program at the Fridley Middle School, and a donation to the Fridley ALC for a total of $51.80 from the Michael Servetus Unitarian Society for Social Work and Student Needs. Is there a motion to accept these gifts?
Motion to accept.
There's a motion by Perito.
Second.
A second by Carnop. All in favor. I'm sorry, it's a roll call vote. Mr. Adam?
Aye.
Ms. Auna?
Aye.
Mr. Carnop?
Aye.
Mr. Meisner's aye. Ms. Peruito?
Aye.
Ms. Stark?
Aye.
And that passes. Thank you. Our next item of business is a motion on the approval of the tennis court reconstruction bids. And I don't know if we need any presentation on this, or is it just up for, do you have something you want to say about it?
No, do I have
No?
to say something?
No, I don't think so, right? Nope,
No.
just wanted to check.
You go for it, Chair Meisner.
Thank you very much. And so, do we have any
Motion
questions
to-
or discussions, or we have a motion to
approve the proposal. for the tennis
Second.
courts.
Second for tennis court / pickleball, right?
That's
Saying.
a very important addition. Let's get a few more lines on those tennis courts for us old fogies. There's a motion and a second to approve the bid selected by the staff for the reconstruction of the tennis courts. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. We next have a motion to, or an approval of the 2021 to 2023 custodian master agreement, which has been approved by the staff and that group. Is there a motion or any discussion?
Motion moved.
There's a motion to approve
Second.
and a second by Anna to approve the 2021 to 2023 custodian master agreement. If there's no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Our next item is the approval of the 2021 to 2023 Fridley Association of School Principals Master Agreement. Is there any discussion on that? If
Motion
not,
to approve.
there's a motion to approve
Second.
and a second by Puino. If there's no other discussion, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. That passes. Our next item is a second reading and the adoption then of some policies that we've already heard. So I believe we have a discussion. I think I have the wrong agenda, but yep. Dr. Brody, you are up.
Good evening, Board Chair Meisner, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Heil. I'm here tonight to present the second reading of Policy 509, Enrollment of Non-Resident Students. There are no new changes since the first reading.
Very good. Any questions or discussions on these policies? Hearing none, a motion would be in order. Is there any motion to approve these
So
policies?
moved.
There's a motion
Second.
by Stark and a second by Anna. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the second readings of Policy 509, 515, 530, and 534 have been approved. The next item is the approval of the MSBA policy technical revisions to a number of our policies. These are technical updates to the text, and as such, they do not need multiple readings. They may be approved in a single meeting since they're simply clarification of existing policies. Is there any questions or discussions on these?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. With no other discussion, all in favor of the acceptance of these technical revisions, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that motion passes. There is another set of technical revisions from the MSBA on legal and cross-reference updates. These are usually in the footnotes of these policies, and so it is again minor technical revisions and clarifications. They do not need multiple readings and can be adopted in a single sitting. Is there any questions or comments on these technical changes to these policies? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve them?
Motion moved.
There's a
Second.
motion and a second. So there's a motion and a second to approve these technical changes to these policies with no further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that passes. Next up is our consent agenda. These are routine items. If there's no further discussion, a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second. Oh, sorry, there's a motion.
Second.
And a second. We have a motion by Adam, and a second by Carnop. With no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain? We have 5 approvals and 1 abstain. That passes. Our next item of business is the reports from school board members. The first item that I have is from Northeast Metro 916, Ivana Stark.
We had the first reading of the budget. We also had a fantastic presentation on our equity policy, which actually pulled in some meetings with our Fridley staff, Ms. Samaha and Dr. Heil. We went over the ratification of the United Educators Local 3748 contract. We also had a presentation on our strategic action planning, implementation, and collaborative design for the district. And the goal of that is to build coherence within the district, including professional development.
Thank you, Board Member Stark. I have an update on the AMSD board meeting, the Association of Metropolitan School Districts. We had a presentation on the Teacher Retirement Fund update and an overview of some of the pension legislation that was in process from the Minnesota Teachers Retirement Association. And we also had a presentation from the Director of Technology at the Osseo area schools on the student data privacy legislation, and that stuff is available in the minutes. There is something that I forgot to put on the agenda, and I think it's minor, so I will just mention it, that I did attend the C meeting as well as the backup member to Board Member Adam. And at the C meeting, which is the Schools for Equity and Education, we had Senator Roger Chamberlain from Lionel Lakes, who is the Assistant Majority Leader and the Chair of the Education Finance Policy, speak on some of the levy referendums to equalize districts, and that it may be difficult to pass in the Senate. He made some comments about the budget being perhaps too big, and some other comments on some training for literacy. There was a discussion about the proposed education bill of $1.2 billion, and at the time, there was still a bit of a gap between the different proposals, which has been resolved, as you may have heard in the news. And there was also a presentation from the Minnesota Department of Education Assistant Commissioner Bobby Burnham about the BOLD literacy plan and how literacy has been relatively low and took a hit during COVID, and so what they're doing to try and address some material gaps, especially in subgroups. Our next and final point on the agenda is upcoming important dates. And I'm pleased to report that the kindergarten social will be on May 18th at 4:30 p.m. in the Commons Park. On May 18th at 6:15 will be the Northwest Suburban Integration School District Joint Powers Board meeting. The Scholastic Achievement Program is May 19th at 7 p.m. at the Fridley High School. The very important Stevenson Carnival is May 20th at 5 p.m. at Stevenson Elementary. We have an early bird choir concert at the Fridley High School, or performance at the Fridley High School baseball fields on May 21st at 11 a.m. The Schools for Equity and Education meeting will be May 26th at 9 a.m. The Alternative Learning Center, the ALC graduation, is May 26th at 5:15 at the Fridley Community Center. The next AMSD board meeting is May 27th at 7 a.m. There is no school on Memorial Day, as a reminder, on May 30th. The Northeast Metro 916 board meeting is on June 1st at 6 p.m. The 64th Fridley High School commencement ceremony will be June 2nd at 7 p.m. at the Bob O'Neill Field at Fridley High School Stadium. I will be there. So will most of us, I believe, right? We have some reasons to be there. Mm-hmm. The next Fridley Public School Board work session is June 7th at 5:30 here at the Community Center. The last day of school not that anybody's counting, is June 9th, 2022. And the Fridley Public Schools' next public board meeting is June 21st here at the Community Center with the usual 5:30 p.m. working session, the 7 p.m. public forum if you wish to speak to the board, and the 7:30 p.m. business meeting. That ends our agenda, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Board Chair, I do have one more date.
Yes.
If I may, just came up
Please.
today. But May 21st, which is a Saturday, the Fridley Tigers senior baseball team is hosting a youth event, and it starts at 11 o'clock at the varsity baseball fields. And I believe the choir from Stevenson will be performing the national anthem.
That's what that was.
That's also senior day.
Yep,
for the
senior day for the
varsity
baseball
team.
players, and there'll also be hopefully a bunch of youth baseball players there as well.
Thank you for that, Jake. Anything else? Then,
motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn
Second.
and a second. Hearing no discussion or further matters, all in favor of adjourning say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.